The Pilgrims, John Bunyan. Imagine waking up one day and discovering that the city where you live, it is doomed to destruction. Not in 100 years, not tomorrow, now. And everyone around him, his family, his friends, his neighbors, acts as if nothing is happening. They laugh, they work, they plan for the future as the fire approaches. And you're the only one the only one that feels, the only one that he knows who needs to escape. But nobody believes you. This is the story of Christian, the protagonist of one of the most powerful allegories ever written, not by a philosopher comfortable in his ivory tower, but for a man locked in a dark cell, a man who chose prison rather than betray his conscience, John Bunyan. And in the next 25 minutes, you'll discover why. The Pilgrim's Progress is not just a religious book, but a map of the human psyche. You will understand what the Swamp of Despond, the Valley of the Shadow of Death, and Vanity Fair reveal about your own journey. You'll see how all the Jungian archetypes are present in this story from 1678, and you'll understand why, 347 years later, this story continues to be relevant, frighteningly current. Do you think you know this story? You know nothing. Because the Pilgrim's Progress is not about religion, it's about you. About the journey we all take, or should take, the journey of leaving the city of destruction and walking towards the light. Prepared? So pack your backpack, because we are about to embark on the most dangerous and most transformative path in Western literature. If you feel like you're living in a city of destruction and need to find your way, this video will change your perspective. But before we begin the journey, leave a like now, because this simple gesture shows me that you're ready for transformation. And if you're not yet subscribed, press that red button, because in the next 25 minutes you're going to discover truths that can change your life. The City of Destruction. The story begins with a man reading a book. He is alone. The house around is silent, but inside, there's turmoil, because this book says something terrible. The city where you live will be destroyed by fire. And this man, who will later be called Christian, it carries something that no one else sees. One heavy burden on my back. He can't take it off. You can't ignore it. You can't pretend it's not there. The burden is real. It weighs as much as lead. Cut off the shoulders. Bend your spine. And every time he tries to talk about it with his family, they say he's crazy. "What's wrong with you?" asks his wife. "Why don't you stop reading that book?" say to their children. "You're becoming obsessed," murmur the neighbors. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever had a profound insight into your life, an uncomfortable truth, and when you tried to share it, people looked at you as if you'd gone mad? Have you ever felt like you're carrying a weight that no one else sees, but that you feel with every breath? This is the first archetype of the journey, the call that no one else hears. In Jungian terms, Christo is experiencing what Carl Jung would call confrontation with the self, the moment when the limited consciousness of the ego is forced to acknowledge a greater, deeper, more frightening truth. It's as if Christo woke up from a collective dream, and now awake, he can't fall back asleep. He sees the cracks in the city walls. He can smell smoke from afar. He hears the distant sound of the collapse approaching, and this truth cannot be ignored. In 2 minutes, you'll discover why Christian's first obstacle wasn't an enemy, but a swamp. And what does this reveal about the most dangerous stage of any transformation? Christo desperately tries to convince his wife and children to run away with him. "We need to get out of here," he shouts. "The city will be destroyed. I read it in the book. It's all written there." But they refuse. Not because they are bad, not because they don't love him, but why are they trapped in familiar comfort? The house belongs to them. My friends are there. The work is safe, the routine is predictable, and abandoning the city of destruction means abandoning all of that. It means abandon status, abandoning comfort, to abandon illusion of security. Jung would say, they are identified with the person, the social mask we wear to fit into the world, and taking off the mask is terrifying, because without her, who are you? Without the approval of others, without a social role, without the routine that defines you, who is left? and most people prefer to die comfortably rather than living uncomfortably. Then Christian's wife shakes her head. The children drift away. The neighbors are laughing, and Christian is left alone, with the burden, with the book, with the certainty that he needs to leave. And it is in this moment of absolute despair that he appears Evangelista. It doesn't appear in a dramatic way. There is no thunder. There is no celestial light. He simply appears, and look upon Christian with compassion. "Why are you crying?" asks Evangelista. "Because I carry this burden," replies Christian, pointing to his back, "and because I read in this book that the city where I live will be consumed by fire, and I don't know where to go." Evangelista smiles, not a pitying smile, but a smile from someone who recognizes it. "Do you see that light in the distance?" he asks, pointing towards the horizon. A Christian looks. Yes, there is a distant light. Small, weak, but present. "Do you see that narrow gate?" Evangelista continues. Christian strains his eyes. He can barely distinguish them, but there's something there. "Keep your eyes on that light," says Evangelista. "Run towards it, and when you reach the gate, knock. It will open." Evangelist is the archetype of the mentor, the one who doesn't walk the path for you, but it shows you the way. Evangelista doesn't promise it will be easy. It does not promise that Christians will not suffer. He just points, and that's enough, because sometimes all you need to begin the journey is someone to confirm that the light you see is real, which is not madness, it's worth it. And Christian decides he's going, even without family, even though he was called crazy, even carrying that cursed burden on my back, because staying would be like dying slowly, and he chose the uncertainty of the path instead of the certainty of destruction. He places a hand on the burden, feels the weight, takes a deep breath, and he starts running. The neighbors shout, "Come back, you're crazy," to a snitch wife. "Don't abandon me." The children extend their hands. "Dad, don't go." But Christian runs, run towards the light, and the more he runs, the less he hears the voices behind him, until all that remains is the sound of your own breathing, the weight of the burden, and the distant light ahead. He left the city of destruction, and now the journey truly begins. The swamp of discouragement. The Christian runs. Adrenaline sustains him for the first few minutes. The euphoria of finally having made a decision carries him away. But then, the landscape changed. The firm ground begins to give way. The green grass gives way to dark mud. The air becomes heavy and humid. He entered the swamp of despair. At first, he thinks he can cross. Just a few steps and you'll be back on solid ground. But with each step, it sinks deeper. The mud rises up to the ankles, then down to the knees, then down to the waist. And the burden on their shoulders, pull it down. The Christian tries to move but cannot. He tries to scream but his voice comes out hoarse. He tries to grab onto something but there's nothing, there's only mud. And it begins to sink. Have you been here before? Have you ever decided to change your life, and in the first few days felt like you were sinking? Have you ever started a journey of transformation and found yourself paralyzed by doubt, fear, exhaustion? The swamp of despondency is not a place, it's a state. That's when you realize, this is going to be much harder than I imagined. That's when the initial euphoria fades, and you're left alone with the reality of what you've chosen. That's when the burden, which you thought would disappear, then seems even heavier. Psychologically, the swamp represents depression, doubt, the inner voice that says, you won't succeed. Jung would say that it is the moment when the ego, still fragile, finds the resistance of the unconscious. The unconscious mind doesn't want change. He wants a standard, he wants security, he wants you to return to the city of destruction. And then he creates mud, tons of mud. Have you ever sunk into your own swamp of despair? Leave your comments below. What was your swamp? Was it depression? Was it a question? Was that the moment when you almost gave up on everything? Write below, because this exchange is important. And if this content makes sense, share with someone who is also struggling to get out of the swamp. This could be the message that person needs to hear today. Wait until I tell you about worldly sage, the character who nearly destroyed Christian by offering practical advice. That's coming in 3 minutes, and it will make you rethink things. All about modern gurus. Christo sinks up to his neck. The mud gets into my mouth. He spits. He is breathing with difficulty. I'm going to die here, he thinks. I didn't even reach the gate. I didn't even see the light up close, and now I'm going to die. And it is at that moment that he hears a voice. Give me your hand. A Christian looks, and he sees a man extending his hand to him. Grab my hand. Quick! The Christian hesitates, because to hold on means to trust, and he trusted and sank, but he has no choice. He extends his hand and help pull it. It's not easy. It's not fast. The mud resists, but inch by inch, the Christian is pulled out until, finally, he's on solid ground again, soaked, exhausted, but I'm alive. Why does this swamp exist? Asks Christo, still breathless. Help responds. This swamp is formed from all the fears, doubts, and despair of those who travel this path. It is fed by the tears and anguish of the pilgrims, but look, he points. There are firm stones, steps placed by order of the king. If you find them, you can cross. But I didn't see them, shouts Christian. Because you were looking down, Help replies. If I had kept my eyes on the light, I would have seen the steps. And that is the lesson of the swamp. The only way to cross it. It's about keeping moving forward, looking ahead, step by step. There are no shortcuts. There's no magic rescue that will get you out of there all at once. Just one step at a time until solid ground appears. And sometimes, you need to reach out and trust that someone will pull it out. Bunyan, writing from prison, knew this firsthand. He was literally sinking, not in mud, but in despair, loneliness, and fear. And he wrote the swamp as a testament. I've been through this. I survived. And you will too. Christian rises up, still soaked, still carrying the burden, but with a new certainty. He is not alone, and he keeps walking. After walking for several hours, Christian encounters another man. He is well-dressed, clean, smiling. His name is Mundane Wise, Mr. Worldly Wiseman. He looks at Christian, soaked in mud, carrying a burden, and shakes his head in pity. My God, what happened to you? I am heading towards the narrow gate, replies Christian, to rid myself of this burden. Mundano Sabio laughs. Not a cruel laugh, but it's a laugh from someone who thinks they know better. You're doing it the hard way, my friend. There's a much easier way. Easy? Christian's eyes are shining. Yes, look, you don't need this narrow gate and distant light stuff. That's abstract, complicated. You need something practical. Go to that village over there, Mundano Sabio points out. Seek out Mr. Legality. He is a respectable, wise man. He will take this burden off your shoulders quickly and safely. And then you can settle in the village. He has a good house for rent. You can live in peace. Christian 4. That seems sensible. It seems logical. Why take such a long, arduous path when there's a quick solution? He is sure? Asks Christian. Absolute. Mundano Sabio replies confidently. I know many people who have done this. They are doing very well now. And Christian, exhausted, decides to try. He deviates from the path that Evangelista pointed out, and he begins to walk towards the village. At minute 12, I'll reveal the moment, exactly, where the burden of Christian falls from his shoulders, and why this could only happen in a specific place. Don't jump, this is crucial. But the closer Christian gets to the village, the stranger things all seem, the stranger they'll ever be. There is a mountain. She wasn't there before. Or it was, but he hadn't seen it. And now, as it approaches, the mountain seems to bend over it, as if it were about to fall, as if to crush it. The Christian feels the burden getting heavier. The air becomes thin. My heart is racing. And then, the earth trembles. Rocks begin to fall from the mountain. One passes close to his head. Another one almost hit his feet. He's going to die. And in that moment of absolute panic, Evangelista appears again. But this time, he's not smiling. What are you doing, Christian? I went looking for an easier way, and he almost died because of it. Evangelista points to the mountain. This is Mount Sinai. It represents the law, and the law cannot take away your burden. It can only crush you with it. But Mundano Sabio said, "The worldly wise man deceived you. He offered a quick fix for a deep problem, and quick fixes always come with a hidden price." Psychologically, mundane wise represents the ego that wants control. The ego that says, you don't need a profound transformation, you just need superficial adjustments. You don't need a journey, you just need a quick technique. You don't need death and rebirth, you just need a life hack. But real transformation has no shortcuts. Jung knew this, Campbell knew this, and Bunyan from his prison cell knew this better than anyone. The mountain nearly crushed Christian because he tried to avoid the path, and now, trembling, he looks at Evangelista and asks, "So what do I do?" Get back on track, keep your eyes on the light, and don't listen to anyone who offers shortcuts anymore. The Christian lowers his head, embarrassed but also grateful, because he almost died, and he was saved. For the second time, he returns to the path, and this time, it won't veer off course again. Wait, if you're enjoying this in-depth analysis, it needs activate Tinkerbell from the notifications. Why? Because in the coming weeks, I'll be launching a complete series on the greatest classics of transformative literature, Dante, Milton, Dostoevsky, always with this same psychological approach. And if you don't activate them, YouTube won't notify you. So click the bell icon now and leave a comment saying, "I'm ready for the series." This helps me know that you want more. The narrow gate and the relief of the burden. Finally, after hours of walking, tired, dirty, bleeding, Christian arrives. The narrow gate. She is not imposing. It's not golden. It's not grand. It's simply narrow. So narrow that Christian notices, "I will not go through with this burden." He tries, turn to the side, strength, but it won't go through. The burden is too great. "So what do I do?" he murmurs desperately, and then he hears a voice from the other end. "Child." Christian hits. The door opens, and on the other side is goodwill. Goodwill. "Enter," he says, "but I won't fit. Go in anyway." Christone takes a deep breath and squeezes through the door. The bundle scrapes against the sides. It hurts, but it passes. And when you're on the other side, goodwill welcomes you with an embrace. "Welcome, Pilgrim. You have arrived." "But I still carry the burden." "I know, but look." Goodwill points. "There's a place up ahead. You'll see." A Christian looks, and he sees at the top of a small hill a cross. His heart races. He starts walking, slowly. The burden is heavy, but something is different now. There is hope. The closer he gets to the cross, he feels lighter, not physically, but internally, as if something were changing. And then he arrives. He stands before the cross. Look up, and there, in that moment of absolute silence, the burden is lifted from your shoulders, not little by little. Don't go slowly, simply water, and it rolls down the hill. Christians look back. The burden disappears into a tomb. He touches his back. There is nothing. It moves. It's light. And for the first time since leaving the city of destruction, he is crying. She cries with relief. She cries with gratitude. She cries because finally, he is free. In 2 minutes, Christian will face a 3-meter-tall demon with dragon wings. And you'll understand why. He also needs to contend with his own Apollyon. Stay with me. This is the moment of grace. Not the cheap grace that Mundano Sabio offered, but the grace that comes after the way, after the swamp, after the refusal to take shortcuts. In Jungian terms, it is their conciliation with the self, the moment when the ego stops fighting and allows something greater to sustain it. The transformation the hero sought. But note, the Christian did not remove the burden. He did not fight against the burden, he simply walked to the right spot when the burden fell. That's profound, because it means that some burdens are not for you to carry. Some battles are not for you to fight. Some liberations happen when you simply arrive at the right place. And the right place for Bunyan is the cross. For Jung, it would be the self. For Campbell, it would be an encounter with the divine. But the principle is the same. There comes a point in the journey where the struggle ends, and the grace begins. A Christian breathes. For the first time, breathe for real. And then 3 bright figures appear. They dress him in new clothes. They place a mark on their forehead. They give him a sealed roll. This roll is your guarantee, they say. Keep it. You'll need it at the end of the journey. The Christian holds the scroll against his chest. And the question is the path easy now? The figures are smiling. No. Now you're prepared for what's coming. And they disappear. Christians look to the future. The journey continues. But now, he is no longer carrying anything that doesn't belong to him. And that makes all the difference. Comrades and enemies. A Christian walks. Without the burden, each step is lighter, but also more aware. Because now he knows the journey is real. And there will be more obstacles. And soon he finds his first companion. His name is Fallen, Faithful. They recognize each other immediately, because Feel also came out of the city of destruction. He also crossed the swamp. He also received new clothes. Are you going to the celestial city too? Asks Christian. Try, Feel replies, and they decide to walk together. And here is a profound truth. No transformative journey is made alone. You can start on your own. You can cross the swamp alone. You can even arrive at the cross alone. But to get to the end, you need companions. Faithful represents faith tested, not naive faith, but the faith that went through the fire and remained. They are talking. They share stories. They laugh at the traps that nearly destroyed them. And Christian realizes, I'm not the only crazy one. I'm not the only one who heard the call. And that strengthens us. If you've been here with me for 15 minutes, you're not someone looking for superficial entertainment. You're looking for transformation, and that tells me you're part of a rare tribe, the tribe of those who aren't afraid to look inside. So do this. Give it a try. Watch this video now and share it on your stories or status with the phrase, I'm on the journey. You don't need to tag anyone. Just leave it there. It's a public commitment to your own transformation. I believe in you. But peace doesn't last long. As they walk through a narrow, dark valley, Christian senses something. A presence. Heavy. Malignant. Next, and then, he appears. Apollyon. A demon with body covered in scales. Dragon wings, claws like knives. Mouth that spits fire. He's blocking the way. And his voice is like thunder. Christian. The Christian trembles. Where did you come from? From the city of destruction. Christian replies, trying to keep his voice steady. This is my city. Apollyon was born. You were born under my dominion. You grew up under my laws. You belong to me. I no longer belong to you. I serve another king now. Apollyon a laugh that shakes the ground. King? What king would accept you? You are weak. You are a coward. You abandoned your family. You almost gave up in the swamp. You were deceived by a mundane sage. You are pathetic. And every word hurts. Because it's true. Christian, he was weak. He gave up. He was deceived. Times, says Apollyon, now in an almost seductive voice. Come back to my city. I will forgive everything. You can have your family back. You can have comfort, peace. You just need to give up this madness. The Christian hesitates, because part of him wants to. Part of him is tired. Part of him wants comfort. But then he touches his chest, and he feels the burden he received on the cross. And remember, I no longer carry that burden. I am no longer who I used to be. And he shouts, I'm not coming back. Apollyon roars, and he attacks. The fight is brutal. It's not symbolic. It's not metaphorical. It's real. Apollyon shoots fire darts. Christians go astray. Apollyon uses his claws. Christians bleed. Apollyon throws him to the ground. Christian rises, and with each blow, Apollyon says, You are weak. You are unworthy. You'll never arrive. Apollyon represents the Jungian shadow. The part of you that says, you will never change. You've always been like this. You will always be. It's the voice of self-sabotage. It's the inner critic. It's the devil who knows all your flaws because he lives inside you. And the only way to defeat Apollyon, it's about confronting it head-on. Don't run away. No negotiating. To fight, Christian takes his sword, the sword of the spirit, and counterattacks. Every blow is a statement. I am no longer a slave. I have been set free. I belong to another king. And finally, he strikes Apollyon in the chest. The demon retreats. He roars in pain. And spread your wings. This is not over, Christian, he shouts, flying away. We'll meet again. And it disappears. The Christian falls to his knees, bleeding, exhausted. But I'm alive and victorious. Feel runs to him and helps him to his feet. You won, says Feel. No, replied Christian, looking at the sword. He won through me. And they keep walking. Wait until we get to Vanity Fair, the most dangerous place on the entire journey. Because there, Christian doesn't face monsters he faces in society. And one of them is going to die. That comes in 3 minutes. Vanity Fair. After days of walking, Christian and Faithful arrive in a city. But it's not an ordinary city. It is a fair. A Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair. And this fair is unlike any other, because everything in it is sold. Honors, titles, reputation, pleasures, houses, lands, positions, even bodies, even souls. Everything has a price. And the fair is huge, noisy, seductive. The colors shine. Scents are attractive. The voices call out, come see, come buy. We have what you need. Here you will find happiness. But Christian and Faithful walk in silence, looking ahead, non-stop, not buying. The merchants are starting to notice. Why don't you buy anything? You are different from the other pilgrims. Why? Christian responds, we buy the truth. And it's not for sale here. The response causes turmoil. People laugh, they mock, they shout. They think they're better than us. They despise our fair. Arrest those fanatics. And Christian and Faithful are dragged along, beaten, thrown into a cage, covered in mud and spit. Vanity Fair is the archetype of a society that punishes those who do not conform. You know this. It's the work environment that demands you be practical. It's the family that says stop dreaming. It's a world that punishes authenticity and rewards pretenses. Bunyan knew this because he was literally imprisoned for refusing to conform, and he placed that prison in history. Christian and Faithful are brought to trial. The judge's name is Lord Hatred of Good, Lord Hate Good. The witnesses are envy, superstition, and flattery. Everyone lies. They caused a disturbance. They insulted our fair. They are dangerous. And the jury, composed of Mr. Blind, Mr. Malice, Mr. Self-Love, decide guilty. The sentence, death. A worshiper is led to the town square. Christian shouts, no, take me with you. But Feel smiles. Don't be afraid, brother. I'll go first. But you'll arrive soon after. And he is executed, burnt, stoned, died. But then, something happens. At the moment of death, a chariot of fire descends from the sky, and it takes Faithful directly to the celestial city. He doesn't need to finish the journey. He took a shortcut through martyrdom. Vanity Fair still exists. It's on your feed. It's in your workplace. It's everywhere that sells you the illusion that you need to be someone different to be accepted. If you recognize this, and if you want to break free from it, subscribe on this channel. Because every video I make is about this, helping you navigate the market without buying anything that isn't truly yours. And if you're already subscribed, leave a comment saying, I've already been to the fair. Let's create a community of modern pilgrims. At minute 22, I'll show you the obstacle that he can't escape it. Not even Christian. It's the river of death. And what Bunyan reveals about how to cross it will send shivers down your spine. Don't leave now. A Christian miraculously escapes from prison. He doesn't know how. Just leave. And now he walks alone. Or almost. Because he will soon find out. Hopeful. a man who saw Field die, and he decided to join Christian. I saw how he died, says Esperanzoso, and I thought, if he had the courage to die for that, then it must be true. And they continue together, the river of death and the celestial city. After months of walking, after deserts, mountains, valleys, Christian and hopeful arrive. No to the celestial city, but to the final obstacle, a river. There is no bridge. There is no boat. There is no other way. The river must be crossed on foot, and Christians know what that is. It is the river of death. He looks at Hopeful. I am scared. Me too. But there's no other way. They enter. The water is freezing. It goes up to your knees, then down to the waist, then all the way to the chest, and Christian begins to sink. I am unable, he shouts. The water is passing over my head. He hopefully holds her hand. Be brave, brother. I can feel the bottom, and it's firm. But I'm sinking. You are thinking about your sins. Stop. Think about him. And Christians close their eyes. And remember, a cruise, the burden that fell, the battle against Apollyon, a faithful man taken to heaven. And he stops fighting, and when you stop fighting, it floats. Not by force, but by surrender. And together, Christian and Hopeful cross the river. In 2 minutes, you'll see what's on the other side of the river, and why Bunyan wrote that scene, inside a prison. That will tie everything up. Stay with me until the end. On the other side of the river, the floor is golden. The trees are greener than you've ever seen them. The air smells of eternal flowers. And ahead, the celestial city, pearl doors, jasper walls, streets of transparent gold, and light. No sunlight, but light comes from within the city itself. Christian and Hopeful fall to their knees. We've arrived. Angels descend and greet them. Welcome, pilgrims. You have completed the journey. They are dressed in clothes that shine, crowned, taken to the gate. And there, at the gate, Christian hands over the scroll he received on the cross. This is my ticket to enter, he says. The gate opens, and on the other side, indescribable joy, music that makes the soul dance, voices that sing in perfect harmony, and Christian enters, whole, book, full. And the last thing Bunyan writes is, and then I heard the city bells ringing again, and everyone shouted, welcome, welcome, and the gate closes. Why the Pilgrim's Progress still matters. John Bunyan did not write The Pilgrim's Progress while sitting comfortably in a library. He wrote in a cold and damp cell by 12 years because he refused to stop preaching, because he chose physical prison instead of spiritual prison. And from that prison emerged one of the most liberating works in history, because Bunyan knew. He knew what it was like to carry a burden. I knew what it was like to sink into the swamp of despair. He knew what it was like to be judged at Vanity Fair. He didn't invent the journey. He lived it, and then he wrote it, so that you would know. You are not alone. The Pilgrim's Progress is not about religion. It's about individuation, the Jungian process of becoming who you truly are. It's about the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell's call for adventure, descent, transformation, and return. It's about transformation through adversity. The hero faces the problem, finds the guide, receives the plan, and achieves success. It's about you, because you also carry a burden. You too live in a city of destruction, be it a meaningless life, a crushing job, toxic relationships, or addictions that hold you back. You also hear the call, that voice that says, there has to be something more. The question is, are you going to stay, or are you going to start walking? Christian was not special. He was weak, he doubted, he was deceived, he almost gave up. But he continued, one step at a time, through the swamp, through temptation, through struggle, through death. And it arrived. And if he arrived, you can too. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You have just completed your own pilgrimage, and now I have 3 requests. 1, leave a comment, counting. Where are you on the Christian journey right now? City of destruction? Swamp of despair? Vanity Fair, near the Celestial City. 2. Share this video with a person that you know you need to start the journey. No need to explain, just send the link. 3. Subscribe. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because in the coming weeks I'll be releasing reviews of Dante's Inferno, The Necessary Descent, Milton's Paradise Lost, The Price of Freedom, Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, The Murder of Conscience. What would you like to see analyzed next? Comment below. See you on the next journey, Pilgrim. May your journey be easy, and his burden would finally fall away.